Hey there, welcome to the third video of the course where we are going to continue modeling the house and other elements of the scene. Shall we start? Okay, let's insert a cube and scale it down. As you've realized, we always start working with a cube or a sphere. The only exception here are the trees, for which we are going to use another primitive, concretely a cone. We just created a new cube, which is the main door for the house. So, adjust the door to the size of the house. We can even rotate it a little bit. Perfect, like that. We can make it narrower or wider. Okay, before making it editable, let's check the width. It's okay, so let's put it back and make it editable. Then select the external sides like this and this, okay, and extrude them. Make sure that the maximum angle is set at a high value so that we can do the border. Perfect. Now select these other elements and extrude them outwards. Great, and now insert the door inside the house. And now we're going to make a window, quite easy. We're going to use a cylinder and scale it down. Then move it up and rotate it 90 degrees. Make it smaller and place it on the wall. Guys, keep adjusting it until it has the desired size. As we do with all the primitives, we can reduce the number of segments to make it more low poly, for example, or increase the number. So set it at 30 segments. Now we're going to make it editable and select all the polygons and click on Extrude Inner, which is an extrusion inwards. Okay, and now we're going to do a normal extrusion to create this effect. So, with all these polygons selected, go to the Select menu and select and apply a set selection. This option allows us to insert two materials in the same object. Let's insert another cube and scale it down. Then we are going to place it over here, like okay. This will go above the door as a sort of column. Okay. Rotate it a little bit as well and insert it into the wall of the house. Perfect. Now we are going to make these supports or sticks bigger. Okay. Now another cube to create a chimney. This will be also quite easy, for which will be using a cube. As always, place and scale it, and then keep adjusting. Okay, over here, and make it smaller. Well, at this point we need to make it editable and select the polygon of the upper face of the cube. Then make an inner extrusion as we just made. So right-click and extrude inner. And after that, a normal extrusion downwards. Great. In order to generate more geometric shapes, we are going to insert some cuts. So, to do so, right-click and click on knife to make a cut. Over here, more or less. Although we need to change the plane. So go here to the Options panel and change it to Plane XZ. So as I said, insert one cut here and another here, and that's it. Go to Loop Selection and select these two areas while holding Shift. And then extrude them. Guys, make sure that the maximum angle is at 200 and then make the extrusion outwards. Right. Now we can adjust the chimney, reduce its size, and lengthen it if needed. We can also, obviously, select the polygons of the upper part of the chimney and make this part wider. Okay. Okay, wider this part. Oops. Guys, sorry, forget that. Instead of all the polygons, only those belonging to the border of the chimney, and then make them wider. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, let's begin with the pier, and yeah, we are going to insert a cube. Well, no. Actually, I think it's better to use one of the steps for the pier and duplicate it. It's important that we put this cube outside this list. That's it. So we are going to use this cube to do a sort of pure, small one. Make the cube narrower and lengthen it slightly. More or less like this. Okay, now as we did before, we are going to duplicate the cube. Remember that we did this by pressing Ctrl. So we are going to duplicate it up to 7 or 8 cubes. So 1, another, 4, 5, 6, and 7, more or less. Okay, let's try it with 8. As I told you previously, it could be done using our cloner. However, as we are working with few elements, it's not necessary. Now select the cubes one by one and rotate them a little bit. just a little bit. Again, we're not looking for perfection, that's why we're going to rotate them. Okay, something like that. We're also going to take advantage of another element previously created, like this one. Press Ctrl and move it. Put it outside the list on the panel of the right. And, as always, adjust the objects. Lengthen the sticks and make the superior part bigger than the rest. That's it. And after that, we just have to put them in a proper place. Okay, one here. Duplicate them and while pressing Ctrl, move them to the other side. That's it, so perfect. On the other side. Okay, we need 2 more for here. That's it. Well, select all these elements and group them in an object group. While holding Shift, select from the first cube to the last one of the list. Then, right-click and click on Group Object. Let's rotate the whole structure and place it here. Okay. And here, for instance. Obviously, you can put it wherever you want to. It's up to you. I'm going to place it here. Well, I think these supports of behind should be smaller just in case. Great. Let's move on to the next object. Now we're going to create a sort of fence here. And for this fence, we are going to use the same cubes we already have in our scene. This one, for instance, put it outside the list. Obviously, we need it to be in a vertical position, so rotate it. We need to set all rotation values here at the right corner, at 0, and click on Apply. Let's rotate it at 90 degrees in the x-axis. Like that, and make it smaller. So, this is one of the parts of the fence. Okay. Now select another element, a cylinder, and reduce its size. Put it here and reduce considerably the number of segments, like 4 or 5. Readjust it and create around 3 copies to finish up the fence. One here, another here, another bigger here, and also here. Now stretch this kind of board until its borders reach the posts. Guys, as you can see, we are doing quite easy modeling task. It's really easy. Okay, duplicate it and put it here. And another for the other side, and rotate it a little bit. We may need to move it upwards a little bit. Keep adjusting, and more or less like this. We'll be able to adjust all these elements afterwards depending on the time we have or our needs. Well, as you can see, you'll probably need to play around until getting the final result. Like rotating the elements, for instance, this pass should be a bit leaning. Once you finish, place all the elements inside an object group to organize all the objects. So select all the objects we just used and click on Group Object. And, well guys, it only remains the trees, which we are going to make in the following lesson. So, as I said, in the following lesson, we'll be modeling the trees and finishing up this process. So guys, see you in the next video.